which also reminds me, Jason is a composer as well.
Yes. Oh, of course. I just remembered now. Jason, that guy is awesome. I mean, I think out of all the ones he's done in terms of music on his channel, his main channel, uh, Test Your Limit, hands down, the best of them all.
Let me think. I forgot which one is Test Your Limit. But the thing he confided with me in is that instead of FL Studio, because he admits it's kind of too hard for him, he uses GarageBand to mix his songs. And that is when I get a little bit upset. A bit upset, because this is something related to do with my childhood.
How is that?
All right. When I was in primary school, I had to undergo holistic education. They made us learn a ton of software, GIMP, and so on and so forth, how to type quickly, all that stuff. I used to think it was worthless, but it helps me a lot now, so I guess it wasn't as worthless as I thought. And one of the software was GarageBand. I liked composing in GarageBand. So when I was 8 years old, I was like, I want to install GarageBand on my laptop. I mean, not laptop, desktop. I had no idea GarageBand was Macintosh only.
Oh yeah, there was some software that I wanted to get, but I couldn't because it's a Mac software.
And this is where things get a little bit more upsetty than most. So I convinced my mother to buy me a software to compose music on the net. We paid for it on the net. It never came.
So you got gypped.
We got gypped. And that is the complete and utter reason I refuse to make any online transactions even till now. So it is a learning experience, but partially due to that, I kind of stopped composing in GarageBand. Not that I could anyway, but it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. If that transaction has gone through, I wonder, would I have been a composer like either of them? I don't know. I guess I'll never find out now.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things I kind of wish I could do, but I cannot do it. It's just, I never, like, for example, really quickly, I never could type like 60 words in a second. I just am not that good. I mean, I can probably type with one hand, maybe at most 25 words with one hand, but even so, there's just some people that are so talented that, yeah, I admit that I get jealous at, but then at the end of the day, there are some things I can do they can't do.
I do agree. People have their innate talents. For example, the two niches on my channel, Kirby and Marble Poppers, I am somewhat more talented at them. But to compensate, I kind of suck at some other genres of games. For example, I doubt I will survive at a first-person shooter game. I'm actually surprisingly terrible at platformer games. So I guess it's life way of balancing things out. You're good at some things, you ain't good at others. I can, for example, I can beat the true arena in most Kirby games. Actually, only like one or two as of the time I'm saying this. But to compensate, I probably can't beat Special World in Super Mario World. So I guess there's that.
Well, I you know what? I haven't been able to beat Special World either, but then again, I never had the desire to do it, so that's another bad thing.
It's sort of like a 100% reward. The only reward is like graphical changes for beating Special World.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't anything that you can unlock that would be worthwhile. But oh my goodness. I mean, let's see. Oh, but back to
Music.
Back to Pika making music. I was like so blown away how he could just simply make something like that and he just kill it every single time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, garage band music. Sometimes they have a lot of layers. It's basically you need to envision the song and then garage band splits it into like I think the time signature, and then you can sort of like add a specific symbol to that layer, and that's how music is played. Like for example, if you add a symbol at for example 14.025 seconds, it plays a symbol for as long as you want. It's very time consuming, I must say that.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, it's
I
an art.
I really forgot how the songs I made in GarageBand when I was primary two ended up. I probably want to say they probably weren't the best. It's definitely a passion project.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And let's see, other people. I'm trying to think of other stuff we can mention. Well, there is another owl that I can think of, and he has something to do with taxes.
Oh, I definitely know that guy. I definitely met him before he met you, or the other way around.
Well, I mean, I haven't really checked his channel out all that much, but I see him commenting on your channel, so
Oh, sure. I might as well say it. Tex Our Bear plays RTSs for the most part, real-time strategy games. He also does a Lovecraftian retrospective where he pretty much reviews every Lovecraftian game to exist or stuff that has to do with even mildly Lovecraftian things.
I never knew that. So, I mean, there's a couple of other stuff I never knew about Tax Owl Bear, but that's something there.
Yeah, I know him quite well. We're pretty good friends.
I mean, I take it you've known him for years and years,
Nope, not at all. Only about a year.
and yet it kind of feels like you have.
When you're on YouTube, sometimes even like something like 2 months seems like an eternity.
Yeah, that is fair to say because 5 years on YouTube could be like could be the equivalent of 20 years.
Especially since YouTube is a very, very, how would I say, sort of new thing. It was founded 2006. Like, for example, as of the time we're recording this, it's 2016. It's only been around 10 years. And Let's Plays have only really dominated for like 7 of those 10 years. And I wasn't even around in its heyday. I was around 2013, so like what, the last quarter of that? And I won't even say my early videos were that watchable, so maybe 2 or 1 year of that 10 years, it's like I was around for that little time and I've already made such an impact, namely on the Marvel Poppers, really.
Yeah, and by the way, I really think that I really believe that probably by the end of 2017 you'll have 1,000 subscribers.
I'm very certain of that as well. Ever since I joined Spear Matches and I have made a certain video, my views have surprisingly skyrocketed. My subs have too, and since I am the creator of Node, Nocturnal Hour Divertis Editor, which is actually the level creator I was talking about, I name dropped. I didn't even bother name dropping it. I mentioned it earlier. I think I will be getting a lot of traction on that end, but only on the Marble Poppers. Uh, do you want me to talk about my software?
I'm not even. I mean, I guess if you could, if you wish, for those who want to know.
Yeah, maybe just a minute or so. It's sort of like a workstation thing where you map out paths on your own and then you export it. That's pretty much it. It's the shortest way I can say it. Because I'm the sole creator and sole proprietor, like for example, it was released 2 days ago, and I've already received like a ton of credits. For example, because what my only condition to use that was credit me, and to be fair, when I said credit, I meant in the mods, but I didn't expect people would actually upload their user-made levels and actually credit me in the description. So there is that, I guess. I'm being
Oh,
credited
I
on YouTube
guess.
itself.
Oh, I get it. So it's credibility that you get.
Yeah, it's partially that. I do ask for credits, but what I actually meant was from credits to the software and me on the mods. But since people actually upload their user-made paths, I've seen one or two, I get credit on YouTube as well. Maybe not the channel link, but I am more well known in that specific genre now than ever. Like, for example, ever since the software was released, my credibility on the forums have shot up so ridiculously high because I've actually shortened down mod making times a load, and it's only like the first beta release. So, yes, I'm not only credible for Let's Plays videos, I'm credible for a completely different reason as well, being a software creator.
Wow. And of course, for those who don't know what credibility is, but have lived, it another way you can put credibility is for those who, how do I put this? It's either credibility or street cred.
It's partially that.
Yeah,
It
street
does
cred.
make you more well known. Like, for example, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. The whole reason I coded this was because I'm lazy. I'm superbly lazy, so I was like, screw it. I have to make a mod for the community mod. I mean, a map for the community mod. I might as well streamline the process, and now, as of the time I'm recording this, I'm still somewhat actively developing the software. It's definitely given me some street cred, and it's definitely going to continue to give me street cred because, to my absolute shock and horror, that software completely decimates map making time to the point where it's pretty much going to be a go-to software to use for making the levels. I actually compared it to Mario Maker, for example. Before Mario Maker was made, Lunar Magic was the way to make Mario levels. Do you know what Lunar Magic is?
No, but I would have to imagine that that's how you would make uh, quote unquote hacks of Mario games.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It was used to make hacks of Mario World. It is a Mario World level editor. But when the real Mario Maker came out, well, I guess people used it there because they can share friend codes and whatever. I'm not sure if Lunar Magic is still used all that much. I think it still will be for the mods. But yeah, I liken my software node to Mario Maker in more ways than one, for example. It completely decimates and gives users the way to easily create their own levels and paths. And to my absolute horror as well, I realized it is also used to make Kaizo paths, so it's definitely Mario Maker now.
Wow.
Oh yes, certainly. In less than 24 hours, I've seen people make absolute trolly levels, and I'm like, why did I make this?
Well, you know what? I don't. It, you don't want to. How do I put this? Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, I know. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Any level editor will be abused. It was the same with Lunar Magic. When Lunar Magic was made, I'm pretty certain Kaizo Mario was made as well. So, yeah, it is in people's instinct to make absolute trolly things. It's the same with Happy Wheels and Mario Maker. We have the impossible levels there too.
Right.
Here,
Wow.
at least, it's not so bad. The worst people can do is make a very ridiculous path, something along the lines of, say, as the worm turns a absolutely despicable level from Zoma Revenge, they can actually import it to Luxor. Or based on what I saw on the board, they're already making really, really epically trolly block yourself everywhere path. So it's definitely my level editor is definitely something to say. Gonna turn marble poppers into a quote unquote expert kind of niche. It's gonna make Kaizo mods. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well,
yes, that's my level editor in a nutshell. It's definitely given me street cred because, as I already mentioned, since it's the Mario Maker software for path making, the old way used to be copy and pasting coordinates. My one just maps it automatically. it means that pretty much there is no way and no reason as of now to not use the software. So my one condition wound up being I'm gonna get credited everywhere basically.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, if you keep it up, I'm pretty sure by then you'll have not 1,000, not even 900, but maybe 3,000 subscribers.
Nah, that's a bit pushing it.
I
When I say
guess.
increase, I mean it's only a mild exponential increase. You have to remember, and the marble popper thing itself is a niche or was a niche. It could possibly return. You see, the video when I mentioned there was a video that made my things popular. It was my Luxor Mod 2016 showcase. That was the video that actually forced me to make okay, these are the rules if you want to recommend me a showcase because I got like 4 requests. And the thing
Wow.
is, mod making used to be a lot harder, but with Node released, it's gonna be a lot shorter. In fact, I actually got as thanks, I actually got a texture pack for Yoshi eggs because apparently, remember Tex Our Bear? That's the reason I actually went back. He asked me, "Can you please make a Yoshi egg mod?" And I was like, "I suck at graphics modding." But then when I released Node, I was like, there was this one friend of mine, Skylar, aka Stage 13-10, which is the mod of the forum, who was like, "How much do I owe you?" Because curve making is actually very viable now, and it completely saves so much time. It's ridiculous, which probably also partially goes back to the fact that I'm anti-boredom and hate wasting time. And I said, "You owe me Yoshi egg textures." And lo and behold, I now have Yoshi egg textures to use as viewers.
Wow. That's unbelievable. And of
It is.
course, and
It
for
Yeah,
yeah,
carry on.
I was just gonna say, and for those who are technical junkies, rejoice, especially for those who love marble poppers.
It is definitely a thing to be rejoiced because based on what I've seen, maps there was a community Luxor mod map making contest or something. There were like 3 to 4 maps. Then come 13 August when I released the editor, it like tripled to 11 or something. So yeah, it's gonna be a rejoice thing because mods are gonna be off the shelf now. It's gonna revitalize the genre to some extent. So I can technically feasibly make Marvel Poppers a more recurring thing on my channel, partially. So yeah, it's sort of that thing where the creation of one thing gives me street cred. Have you ever had a video which went viral or something, or and definitely gave you credibility to more people?
Well, I don't know if I could say that on a technical level. Heck, I can't even say that on a street cred level. But I think the closest to that would have to be Chuck Norris against The Undertaker in one of my old wrestling videos.
Oh, I see. Because your street cred is different from mine. Your street cred is your wrestling videos. Like, for example, for people who are featured in that series, your street cred is that you're one of the few who actually makes these videos. Maybe not one of the few I know of, at least. So that's definitely your quote unquote street cred. Different YouTubers have different street creds. I pretty much mentioned mine is Marble Poppers and accidentally creating a software that is forced to credit me every time. I mean, you can choose to not credit me, but based on human empathy, I think you will. And
I probably would.
yeah, so different people have different street cred. Jason's street cred is JRPGs. Something like HC Bailey, Newfie Banga, who plays JRPGs, all that much. Their street cred is that. For a Pokemon YouTuber like say Pika Plays HD, his street cred is probably uh people who make mods or Pokemon hacks or recommendations, they have to ask him for it. So his street cred is that he has a pretty high street cred value. He has a very good community.
Well, I would imagine that I understand that recently he became the administrator, so I don't see how he does not have street cred when he does, and by that I mean Pika plays.
Yeah, certainly. Street cred is something that it's hard to earn, but when you earn it, it's something good. It makes you big per se because people will talk about you, people will recommend you. I'm pretty certain you have some street cred to you. I definitely think you have some.
Yeah.
Yeah, your street creds is collabs. You are a very collab open person, which
Oh,
is
that's
why
right.
uh,
That's right. Right. I mean, sure, I like wrestling videos, but collabs, like, I may as well mention this, and then we'll go on to a different topic if that's all right with you.
correct.
All right. So one of the things that, believe it or not, it actually kind of stemmed from a different incident, which I kind of briefly mentioned in a private uh, message that
Yeah,
we
you
had.
don't have to talk about it unless you want to talk about it.
But my collab thing, it kind of was born out of that. I had a group of friends. I'll briefly mention this. I had a group of friends that at one point we were the closest of friends, and I've mentioned a number of times that if you don't really care about somebody, if you don't really care for someone, there's no way you can, you have to be able to care for somebody in order to love them. In other words, if I didn't really care about the people that I did at one point, nothing they did to me and nothing they've done since then, it really it wouldn't have made much difference. But I did care about them, and when we were friends, and at one point I wanted to do collabs with them. So that's practically where it came from.
I see, because you are possibly out of my entire subscription box, you've done the most collabs with the most people. That's definitely your street cred. The people have to ask you for collabs and stuff like that. Like for example, this interview right now.
Yeah, that's one thing. And even before that, I mean, like there was also LP Grotus, Pika Pika Powa, now Jason RPG, Ryoko, Crazy Candy Lady, Gina, formerly known as Via Vanille, and then currently on my channel, at least as of the time that this is being recorded, Retro Rick XTN.
Yeah, it's not just the interviews, but it's even the stuff, sometimes random stuff like Mario 3D World, Yoshi's Story. The fact that you're willing to collab with people is definitely some street cred to you because I don't do collabs, for instance. I suck at collabs. But your street cred is definitely people have to ask you for what the heck? Oh my, sorry, my door. Uh, it's people have to ask you for collabs, and that means they have to be friends with you beforehand. So your street cred is definitely making friends via collabs and stuff like that.
Yeah, in fact, and another thing I should mention is that if you're just some random stranger that all of a sudden asks for it, you're more often than not you're not going to get it because I mean, really, you got to be a friend of mine. I mean, you can't just be some random stranger that just comes off out of anywhere. In fact, you want to know what the funny thing was, Konis?
Yeah, go around.
You've heard of the infamous Prince Mario 64,
Oh yes.
but you've also heard of the number of people that hate him, I take it.
Not to say hate him, just dislike him, but yeah, carry on.
Well, he has his haters. I've witnessed it firsthand, and one person named Prince Wario, yeah, obvious parody of Prince Mario, but Prince Wario had the nerve to ask me to give him an interview, and I'm like, what?
What? That guy?
Yeah, that guy. I'm like, what?
Wait a minute. How many subscribers does he have?
I
I'm not
don't know.
I'm not even too sure of the situation. All I know from the situation, what I saw on Twitter, and from what I saw on Twitter, he sent dislike bots and stuff. So yeah, there's that.
I mean, I mean, heck, even Prince Mario in and of himself is a topic worth. Well, actually, not really, because sometimes I just can't take him really. I can't take him at face value. Not even that.
I, it's a unique topic. I do feel for him. He's someone who has the fan base like Michael or Pika Plays HD, but the problem is the way he handles things is a bit it's something I do have my complaints about. It's something that stemmed back to something he said in the past, which was when I'm older, I'm not gonna do these LPs or something like that. But I forget what it was that ticked me off, but it was something like he doesn't care that much for his fan base, and that's something that really irritates me because he doesn't it's not that he doesn't care, but he still expects them to watch and whatever. But it's the fact that he doesn't care as much as we do. I can
Oh.
quote examples. I do care for my fan base, my so-called anti-boredom fighters. You care for your stars unless you change it in the future.
Yeah, well, I still call them stars on occasion, yes. But I'm trying to think of an example of what you did. I think the number one thing you've done is just simply replying to the comments. Not always, but the fact that you reply to your comments from the people that comment on your videos, that right there just shows you care.
Yes, I have had a busy time. I may not be able to reply all that much, maybe especially in the future where it gets a bit ridiculous, but I do appreciate comments. Comments are awesome.
Right,
In
right.
fact, I appreciate something which may not be obvious to someone who's just randomly watching videos. Uh, we appreciate comments, sometimes even more than likes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, likes are fine. I enjoy getting likes every now and then, but comments are it's like comments are king. I will go with that.
At least the comments that make sense, the ones that are just like, "Hey, check out my video," or generic,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Right. I mean, need we go on? But yeah, but back to the collabs thing before we get really off topic.
correct.
Uh, the fact is, when I collab, I mean, oh yeah, and also, yeah, if you're just some random person that asks, chances are you're not going to get it. It's just not going to happen. And as far as me doing collabs, sometimes, yeah, people do ask me, but actually, to be fair, more than half the time it's usually on a whim. That's practically how it works. It's not so much I ask them or they ask me, it's usually on a whim.
Oh, it's just like, "Hey, we're Skype calling, and actually, you want to join?"
Yeah, that's practically how it works.
Yeah, I know. I've been part of that before. Yeah, it does give street cred because it definitely it instills you as more than someone random to them because you're willing to collab with them, and it definitely helps in making friends. So that's definitely your street cred value. Uh, Different YouTubers have different street cred values. I already mentioned. Michael will be probably playing a specific Pokemon game and something like that. You just gotta find yours, I guess.
Yeah, there's other people. I think it was Jay Vertis, someone who plays Smash with me quite a bit. His street cred is Minecraft,
Ooh, okay, I see.
albeit it's a multiplayer variation of it, but still. Just the fact that he loves Minecraft. I mean, sure, he may not get as many views as say like the big guys, but he's definitely one who loves his what is it Minecraft among other
I mean,
things.
from based on what you just said, that reminded me of something. Popular games and stuff like that. Aren't these beautiful? People do love them, especially their day one LPs.
Yeah, we've mentioned day one LPs quite a bit.
I'm not
Uh,
sure if we have on the last interview. It was probably with someone else.
well, what are your opinions of day one LPs?
Alright, I'm gonna give my honest, right down the ground opinions. I wouldn't do one. At least I don't think. Maybe I might. I've been doing a lot of RoboBot videos, but they aren't day one, and they're filmed with a camcorder and stuff like that. So that doesn't count. It doesn't. It doesn't. Uh, I wouldn't do one. At least I don't see myself doing one. Do I like watching them? That depends. That really depends. And it's why day one LPs annoy me to some extent. Day one LPs exist for the sole purpose of garnering views, not retaining those views. What do you think?
I say that there is a merit in each of the arguments. I mean, I don't see myself doing it because, well, quite frankly, it just costs money to get games. I mean,
And not only that, I also don't see yourself doing this because just like me, you're slow paced in playing, and that will kill in day one LPs.
yeah, definitely. But when I do, I just don't see myself doing day one LPs. I mean, really, the only person that I watch do day one LPs that does it better than anybody else, hands down, we like to pray, or we like to play as they are now known as.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah, they do day one LPs pretty well. They're one of the better ones when it comes to day one LPs because unlike most day one LPers, their personalities shine through, and that is where day one LPs really irritate me. It's not the fact that they're doing day one LPs. I mean, sometimes I understand when Planet Robobot came out. Actually, no, scratch that. When it got leaked in Japan, I did had my fair share of trying to catch on day one LPs and stuff like that. But the thing was, I watched them for trying to find out what was going on. I didn't per se stay for the personality. Also, some of them did have good personality, mind you. And that's where I want to say, if you want to do day one LPs, you need to strike a balance. You definitely are going to get the views, but how you want to retain those views, it's definitely up to you because I'm gonna say this right now. 90% of people who watch Day One LPs don't care who's playing them.
true, true. I mean, I remember watching, and this was like before I even had a YouTube channel. It was back in what is it, August of 2009. Back at the time when New Super Mario Brothers Wii was a brand new game, and I was looking for information about it, and lo and behold, guess who I find? We
Oh,
like
I
to
heard the
play.
story, bro. I heard the story before. That's how you found them, whatever. But they are kind of an exception because, first of all, although it was a Day One LP, at least I think it was actually fun to watch and people stayed, unlike 90% of Day One LPs.
Yeah, they were
And
practically the
yeah.
yeah
And
yeah
second of all, it was a breakout in 2009 where there weren't as many people trying their best to import the game from Japan just to get like a 1 day head start on people.
right. And well, even so, the fact that their personalities shine like that, it's just that's one of the reasons I enjoy watching. We like to play, and but as for me doing day one LPs, if I do end up doing one, it'll be because one, I have the money, and number two, I'm famous. But even so, I'm not that famous, so it's chances are it's probably not going to happen. But anything can happen.
If I do a day one LP, which I doubt because I schedule everything meticulously, it's probably going to be one of two things. One, a Marble Popper mod that just got released. For example, on no, actually that isn't the very best example. I actually recorded Luxor Mod 2016 the day it got released, though I uploaded it 3 days later. But no, not 3 days later, 3 weeks later, as a first impressions video. And to be fair, day one LPs do kind of work for these kind of mods because they're so small. There's barely anyone doing them, so you actually do watch it for the personality and stuff like that. Especially still also due to the fact that technically no one commentates on it, so my personality is unique. Or it's a game I really enjoy, like maybe a Kirby game or something. That's basically the only day one LPs I ever see doing.
Wow. So, um, really, that's practically all we have to say about day one LPs. Let's see. Other actually, but yeah. I'm. Thank you for just simply telling me how you feel about it, because how one person feels from another is different.
Oh yeah, sure. There are people that somewhat enjoy day one LPs that I personally find is just because they want to get as many information or they want to see blind reactions. That's also one of the few times I see day one LPs working.
But then let's see. Then there are the people. Now we talked about uh, Jason RPG, but we haven't really talked about the other Pikachu, Pika Plays.